Good evening. We're the anchors of Queer News Tonight, and this evening we discuss the queer headlines. The United Methodist Church's World General Conference in Charlotte debates LGBTQ+ issues with a proposed middle path granting regional autonomy.
A UK study reveals challenges in testing and treating MPOX among gay, bisexual, and other men who have sex with men, highlighting stigma and negative reactions.
Experience enchanting musical performances by dual pianists Lindsay Garritson and Anastasiya Naplekova at Sunshine Cathedral Center for the Performing Arts on May 5th.
Holy Cross Family Health Center is under construction and will be a healthcare beacon for Broward County with diverse services and a focus on LGBTQ+ and HIV care.
Louisiana public schools resist President Biden's Title IX rules against anti-trans discrimination.
Good evening. Welcome to Queer News Tonight. This is the world's first and only LGBTQ+ daily evening television news, broadcasting live and available on demand. Available on all smart televisions, including Roku, Apple TV, Android TV, Amazon Fire TV, Twitch, YouTube, and Facebook. It's time to queer up the news. This is Thursday, April 25th, 2024. We are live and literally out of the closet and into the headlines. So many of your important stories we are going to tell this evening on Queer News Tonight.
This is the world's first live daily LGBTQ evening news show, literally out of the closet and into the headlines on Queer News Tonight.
This is the world's first and only unedited live LGBTQ+ evening news show. Whatever happens unique in LGBTQ+ news, you will see it and hear it.
Hotspots Magazine, Happening Out Television Network, is a nonprofit 501c3 media company in the same model as PBS and NPR, but designed for the LGBTQ+ community. Our mission is to support the 11 pillars of our LGBTQ community. We want to inform and educate the key issues of our queer culture: Black community, Latino, lesbians, and queer women, trans students, youth, seniors, HIV/AIDS healthcare, business, social justice, and faith. Help us support our community.
We are part of one of the largest LGBTQ+ nonprofit media companies in America, Hotspots Magazine and Happening Out Television Network. In 2024, our magazine is celebrating 40 years of the LGBTQ+ experience, and our television news, talk, and entertainment shows support our mission to educate the LGBTQ+ and broader community.
All right, y'all, let's meet tonight's anchors at Queer News Tonight. Let's welcome anchor Elijah Manley. Elijah is a community organizer, activist, and formerly, listen to this, the youngest ever candidate for the Florida House of Representatives. He is the owner of Benchmark Strategies, a South Florida consulting firm. Hey, buddy, how's it going?
Good. How are you?
I'm good. I hear you are telling me, I heard a little, kind of talk about a banned book fair.
Yeah, so
Banned book fair.
there are a lot of excellent young people coming up with this amazing idea to have a banned book fair here in the state of Florida. As you know, DeSantis and his cronies up in Tallahassee are banning books left and right. So there will be a banned book fair on May 11th at the Weston Community Center from 11 a.m. to 2 p.m. You can go there and meet local BIPOC authors. There will be a kids center, music, fun, entertainment, free books to give away. So if you're into that type of thing, just be there.
Amazing.
I mean, the kids are all right, y'all. Thank you for that, Elijah. This is Vaughn Biggs, Broward County HIV Health Services Planning Council's vice chair and disruptive advocate, challenging outdated perceptions and fighting for HIV/AIDS rights. As Holy Cross Health community outreach coordinator, Vaughn smashes stigma through innovative campaigns and social media. Vaughn, Holy Cross Health, I hear, is taking the vaccines, where the queer audience is when you host Vaccine Night at Eagle Wilton Manors on May 9th. Tell me what's going on there. What's that all about?
Yeah, so Holy Cross has partnered with the Eagle for almost 2 years now.
Wow.
About every other month, we offer vaccinations to the community free of charge. They don't need your insurance information. So we'll offer MPOX vaccinations, hepatitis A, meningitis, and COVID vaccines. And on top of that, we used to do flu, but we're out of flu season now. So when that comes back in, we'll be offering those as well as HIV self-testing kits.
Wow. Goodness, such awesome work between band book fairs and the vaccine. Look, this is incredible.
Come on, community.
Come on, community.
Exactly.
All right, now, speaking of community, let's welcome anchor Matthew Darren. Matthew is an accomplished musician, performer, and producer. He was a contestant on season 10 of American Idol, and his company, D-Rock Productions, curates some of South Florida's favorite musical events and concerts. Matthew, I hear you have a new national tour that is going to start this summer at the iconic Crown and Anchor in P-Town. I love that place. And the tour is going to finish in Wilton Manors. Tell us, it's called Wild and Wired, I hear. Tell us a little bit about it.
Yep, a little bit inspired by Tina Turner with the title. But
yes, ma'am.
I will be taking off in July and heading up to P-Town, bringing a few of our local friends with me to share what we've got going on entertainment-wise down here, and light them up in P-Town for the month of July, and then traveling around a little bit and making its way back here in November. So keep your eyes and ears peeled, MatthewDarren.com. But before I take off, I am going to be producing a show called Pride Fantasia.
Nice.
It is the first Pride Fantasia, so make sure you get your tickets and check it out. It's going to be at the Manor Complex on Wednesday, June 12th. So you can get those tickets at MatthewDarren.com. And if you've been to one of my holiday Fantasia shows here at the Sunshine Cathedral, just replace the holiday fantasy with a Pride fantasy. A little bit of history, Mr. Professor, and a little bit of fun. So MatthewDarren.com for that.
Check it out, guys.
And of course, this is tonight's lead anchor, Dr. Julio Capo Jr. He is a board member of the Stonewall National Museum, Archives, and Library. He is a history professor at Florida International University and the author of the book, Welcome to Fairyland, Queer Miami Before 1940. Julio, the Stonewall National Museum is hosting a first ever reenactment of the Stonewall Uprising, complete with police participation on June 29th. Tell me, what's that all about?
You know, the Stonewall National Museum and Archives is doing such incredible community-based work, and they have this new exhibition opening kind of space in the entirety of the Stone. This is in Fort Lauderdale, where they're recreating what the Stonewall Inn, right in Greenwich Village, looked like, right in 1969,
Wow.
the year of the rebellion. And part of this is, and then a few weeks later, on the 29th, they're going to recreate the actual rebellion, and everyone's invited to participate. It's such a cool way of honoring those before us and really making sure that we understand that LGBTQ history is American history. We got lots of work to do.
Yep.
Yeah.
And if we're not telling the stories, who will?
That. Thanks for that. Yeah. And we are the reporters for Queer News Tonight. And this evening, we begin with the queer headlines. The LGBTQ plus community in South Florida and across America is diverse. Our community across the world is vast. And here are the bullet points of Queer News for Thursday, April 25th, 2024. Let's begin this evening by queering up religion. The United Methodist Church World Conference to decide on same-sex weddings and LGBTQ plus clergy. This week, the United Methodist Church commenced its general conference in Charlotte, North Carolina, in which same-sex weddings and LGBTQ plus clergy were at the center stage. The church, a prominent Protestant group in the United States, has witnessed numerous congregations departing due to these contentious topics. Presently, the United Methodist Book of Discipline, the church's regulatory text, declares, and I quote, "The practice of homosexuality is incompatible with Christian teaching," end quote. Additionally, the book forbids United Methodist clergy from officiating same-sex weddings and prohibits the ordination of LGBTQ plus clergy. The General Conference, comprising United Methodist globally, possesses sole authority to amend rules regarding sexuality. It holds the power to retain, remove, or modify language. The United Methodist Church convened a special meeting in St. Louis back in 2019 to discuss the LGBTQ plus issues, but no resolutions were reached. Plans to revisit the matter in 2020 were, of course, disrupted by the pandemic. This World General Conference marks the first gathering since 2020. A middle path option proposed for adoption at the Charlotte meeting would grant regional conferences autonomy in decision-making. If adopted, it will codify what is already happening within the church. It means liberal conferences like those in Southern California could continue ordaining LGBTQ plus clergy and performing same-sex weddings, while conservative ones might not. Methodists hope to move past prolonged debates on these issues, focusing instead on long-standing church priorities. There is little question that United Methodist's next moves will have dramatic effects on a substantial number of LGBTQ plus people. The conference will conclude on May 3rd. Stay tuned to Queer News Tonight for updates. There's a lot to unpack here, and I'm just going to start. This is such an important story, and it's going to have a massive impact, not just on LGBTQ people, but on everyone. In some ways, it's also the integrity of the church and not reflecting what its people want, right? We're seeing an exodus already of so many folks from these congregations. We've seen that even in the story that I just read, right? If you don't create flexibility and space for people to be in communion with one another, to be in community with one another, what are you really standing for, right? And that is a call for what the people, the community also want. You could not, right, be a same-sex, and not get same-sex married in these spaces, right? You don't have to, but there's still space for people who want to belong to this faith and this congregation and community. So
I, as a pastor's kid growing up, always had an interesting dichotomy going on in my head. But there's this new movie, documentary style movie that's coming out called 1946, the movie, and it discusses how the word homosexuality didn't appear in the Bible until 1946. The fiscal sponsor for the movie is Women Make Movies, so you can check out both at
Sounds
Women
great.
Make Movies or at 1946 the movie. But it kind of comes back to that, the control that government and the establishment wanted within the church kind of created this exclusive community where the LGBTQ plus folks are left out. But spirituality is for everyone.
Right.
And spirituality is based in, if you truly believe what the Bible says, it's based in love and acceptance and honoring one another. So
Well said.
that would mean community should be for all.
And good that you bring it up too, because especially with this new poll that came out a few weeks ago, I mentioned on the show, with about 30% of Gen Z identifying as LGBTQ plus, and that's also correlating with a decrease in religious belief among young people.
Right.
So
Exactly.
I will hope that,
The sustainability of the church, right?
right, if they want to see, if they want to get their hands on the next generation and spread their message, this will be a good
Welcome them.
Yes.
And so many people are like, oh, but it's a foundational truth. This is just a fact. Got to put this in the Word of God. It's his life breathed from him. It's like, well, let's talk about the Bible and the history of the Bible. And once you understand that, then you kind of get a better idea how man's fragility and inability to be 100% correct on anything can sometimes, misdirect us and mislead us.
Right.
Well said. Fun.
All right, next let's square up health. New study led by T. Charles Witzel finds an inadequate health response to MPOX outbreak. A study conducted among gay, bisexual, and other men who have sex with men in the United Kingdom revealed challenges in accessing medical testing and treatment for MPOX, formerly known as monkeypox. Participants reported facing stigma associated with disease and encountering negative reactions from both heterosexual and LGBTQ plus communities upon receiving their diagnoses. Published in the eClinical Medicine, the study named experiences of MPOX illness and case management among cis and transgender gay, bisexual, and other men who have sex with men in England. A qualitative study utilized in-depth interviews with 22 people in the study who contracted MPOX and 4 stakeholders from clinical and communication organizations. Conducted between March and July 2023, the interviews provided valuable insights to the experiences and case managements of MPOX illness among this demographic. Following the U.S. Government Accountability Office's report on the 2022 outbreak, the UK study has emerged. Prompted by the U.S. report, gay U.S. Representative Richie Torres introduced the Coordinated Agency Response Enactment Act. this month aiming to revamp federal public health emergency management. Healthcare advocates have been pointing out that the LGBTQ plus community in America has been facing stigma over MPOX and has interfered with the acceptance for medical prevention. The UK study has published recently by the lead researcher T. Charles Witzel. So MPOX, right? You know, one of the things I have to say about MPOX is us as gay men in the community, when we went through COVID, all of us survived COVID, right? Or most, I should say a lot of us did. But in that case, when MPOX hit us as gay men, we're kind of a little vain, right? So when we saw the images of what MPOX was doing to people, we were lining up for the vaccines. So I think, at least in Broward County, we did a great job, I feel, is preparing ourselves for MPOX. We still have a lot to do. If you look at the study for the state of Florida in general, only 28% of the people they identified that should have received an MPOX only has received one vaccine. And only 20% of those people have received both vaccines.
Interesting.
Yeah.
You know, I remember when access to, like, Broward County was pretty ahead of its time in that way that it got access to those vaccines, right? That is, most cities, including lots of major metropolitan areas, simply didn't get access to the MPOX vaccine until, in some instances, it was just far too late. It had spread pretty wildly, right? To me, this story tells us so much, right? And I about what we stand to learn from past pandemics too, right? That is, in some ways, if you had just kind of swapped the MPOX for HIV, the story would have looked a lot like it reads similarly, right? That is, whether it's stigma, whether it's access to care, we've made so many of the same mistakes, and haven't learned enough from our past and present, right? That is, of course, because HIV is not over, right? But in that way, it sounds just kind of eerily like other pandemics and those that affect, of course, the LGBTQ community in disproportionate numbers.
With no help from the state, of course.
But
I definitely want to give a shout out to Nikki Fried, because I remember when this outbreak occurred and literally no one was talking about it at all. And I texted her and I was like, hey, Broward County is like the center of this right now. We need vaccines. And she was on the phone with the White House that same day, right after I texted her.
That's amazing.
And we had those vaccines down here. And that just really goes to show, like, having a voice at that state level is important, because it's not, you know, the federal government can't do everything, but it's important that the folks here at the local level take the lead, and they did in Broward County. And just looking at these numbers, I know you're going to talk a little bit about that. It's frightening. It really is frightening, because a lot of people just don't know. And they have no idea. And I mean, especially reaching the younger folks, we got to find different ways to reach them and let them know how to get the vaccine.
What a great perspective.
You hit something very important, and it's having representation at the local level as well as the state level. And so just a little nod to you. Like, you are an incredible young man, and we are so lucky to have you as part of our community, already making strides to represent us in government. If we talk about the HIV epidemic, that knocked out an entire generation of politicians and representatives, as well as, you know, artists and historians and Medicare people, medical people. But yeah, thank you for what you're doing and leading that
You've
charge
been fighting this fight
Right.
and including so many young folks into the conversation and facilitating that conversation for so many people.
And I know Rep. Chip LaMarca is going to be kind of upset when I say this, but it is true, and we should always remember that Ronald Reagan really screwed us up. And I think a lot of folks don't know their history, they don't talk about it. I mean, whether that's HIV, and now that attitude that people have is still here, you know, about, you know, vaccines and, you know, like we were just talking about with the stigma. The first thing people are saying, this is a gay disease and this is an STD, even though it's not. And we shouldn't care. That's your lifestyle. Even though it affects straight people, we know.
And I think what's important to note too, we're coming up on Pride season. And for those individuals who've not received one or even two of those vaccinations, please get your vaccination. You can't find it in town, call Holy Cross. We will get you taken care of. That's not a problem.
For COVID too, that is, not everyone did survive COVID. Or like that is, it's really important, and they're still not. Like it's important to note, right, that the accessibility of vaccines when they're made available to you, there's so much misinformation out there, but that education's key, right?
Absolutely.
Elijah.
Well, next, let's queer up the worldview. Sunshine Cathedral brings Anastasiya Naplekova and Lindsay Garritson on May 5th. Sunshine Cathedral Center for the Performing Arts is set to host a captivating musical event featuring pianist Lindsay Garritson and Anastasiya Naplekova on Sunday, May 5th. The renowned duo will enchant audiences with a special four-hand piano program showcasing a diverse repertoire that includes a transcription of Brahms' cherished piano quintet, along with selections from Schubert and more. Attendees can expect an evening filled with the sublime harmonies and virtuoso experiences of those talented musicians. Tickets offer the LGBTQ+ community an opportunity to experience world-class music in a vibrant and inclusive atmosphere. Sunshine Cathedral Center for the Performing Arts is recognized as America's leading LGBTQ+ live entertainment series. For further information and ticket purchases, visit sunshinecathedral.org. And I'm excited to hear about this. Today is the first time I actually, heard about this event. And, arts really is important and music. And just having a place to go at night and just chill and relax, that's kind of cool. I mean, I've been to several other performances and events they've had here, and they're just beautiful at the Sunshine Cathedral. So looking forward to this.
And so inclusive, too. Like, they have such a diverse and wide variety of art that comes through. It's amazing.
The lineup is just, it's really diverse in its offerings. And, like, you would just see in the audience, too, that it's so many folks who are coming for a number of different reasons and to be in community. Also, neither here nor there, I'm happy you had to read pianist. I have a hard time saying that word. I'm like, Elijah has to say it, and that's
Quintet, Brahms.
Girl.
I love it. Next, let's queer up health. Holy Cross Family Health Center improves LGBTQ+ wellness and inclusivity in Broward County. Holy Cross Family Health Center emerges as a beacon of healthcare excellence within the community, offering a comprehensive range of services, from primary care to pediatric therapies like physical, occupational, and speech therapy. The centers provide holistic care with an on-site laboratory, a culinary medicine teaching kitchen, nutrition counseling, and dedicated spaces for community education. It's poised to become a hub of wellness. Focusing on the aging population in Broward County, the center addresses the specific needs of individuals aged 50 and above, particularly those living with HIV. Tailored healthcare strategies aim to manage the unique challenges of aging with HIV, ensuring a high quality of life. Additionally, recognizing the significant LGBTQ+ population, the center strives to create an inclusive environment where every individual feels supported. This new healthcare center is under construction in Oakland Park, and the new center will help realize its ambitious vision and cater to diverse healthcare needs. Philanthropic support from healthcare providers like Holy Cross is absolutely crucial, and contributions fuel initiatives for comprehensive LGBTQ+ health, covering patient care, support services, staff education, community outreach, screenings, and clinics. The goal is to foster a healthcare environment where LGBTQ+ individuals feel safe, respected, and understood. And to tell us more about it, we have Community Outreach Coordinator and Holy Cross Health blogger, Vaughn Biggs. What's up, Vaughn? Talk to us.
Hey. Well, I had the pleasure to actually tour as the construction's starting at this facility. So the location is at 5601 North Dixie. So we used to be housed there in our community outreach department, and it had caught fire over a year ago. And so they've started reconstruction on that. And it is a 4-story building that will be a complete family health center.
That's amazing.
We'll have a complete section focused on the LGBTQ health. Me being the HIV advocate that I am in the community, we are focused on, we continue to hear in the community that our aging population, because with HIV, people are living a lot longer lives, right? It's managing those additional comorbidities they may be having or as they're aging with HIV. So we're hearing more and more about how they're needing access to care and services. So the idea is to create support groups for these individuals, which we keep hearing they need, of how to navigate health systems, how to talk to their doctors. On top of that, we've got, the culinary kitchen. We have a whole team that, dietitians that will be teaching and showing how to make healthy meals. The whole facility in itself, I can't give too much away, but there are some amazing things that's going to be top notch in this facility. And I think that at the end of the day, everyone's going to be very happy. As Holy Cross views it, we're about the dignity of the person. So that's who we want to treat. We want to treat with care and love and respect and dignity of the person at the end of the day.
I know that medical professionals kind of all abide by the same rule of just caring for a person and a heart and a soul. But something that I've learned recently, because I've met you and met a few others from Holy Cross, is that there's quite a bit of representation on your staff from the LGBTQ plus community as well.
Absolutely. We have many doctors and many allies, to say the least, as well. So it's very important because a lot of them have always been there, but we didn't know it. But when we would be out in the community, we would have members come up to us that have been patients, and they were amazed that when they sat in a hospital bed, that they could look up and they could see, a gentleman could look up and see his husband listed as the person on that board of who the contact is. So those are just very important things that they do. It's a true ally. We have a lot of doctors that are very interested in the care and a lot of specialties. So that's a great thing. Once you're at Holy Cross, you think about it, we have a very wide network of individuals. So it's not like going to a typical medical clinic where now we have to refer you to somebody else outside of the network.
And just knowing that someone understands you and where you come from in your community, it allows you, what you guys said about finding dignity and being heard, like those two things come hand in hand with somebody who understands where you come from.
Right.
Yeah.
And as we've read it, right, just in the MPOX story, right, that is the need for this. That is that there's such demand to, whether it's lack of resources or lack of, that is, places like this not only make us feel safe and make us feel in community, but allow us to dignity, right? Like, and that's still so lacking, and that's just incredible. I can't wait to learn about all the things that are.
Me too.
And on that note, with senior healthcare too, especially LGBTQ plus senior healthcare, there's a big need for it. So I'm hoping this center fills that void that we have.
Absolutely. That's the goal.
Good.
That's the goal. Yes.
Excellent. Next, let's queer up education. Louisiana tells schools to ignore Joe Biden's new LGBTQ plus inclusive Title IX rules. Louisiana's public schools are defying President Biden's Title IX rules against anti-transgender discrimination, set to take effect on August 1st nationwide. The state's education leaders suggested a future lawsuit against the new regulations, with the anti-LGBTQ plus legal group Alliance Defending Freedom already committed to legal action. Louisiana Superintendent of Education, Cade Brumley, expressed in a letter to the schools earlier this week that the new rules may contradict state laws prohibiting trans athletes from competing on teams aligning with their gender identity. Despite the despite the absence of mention of trans athletes in Biden's rules, the Biden administration warned that schools receiving federal funding must comply to avoid potential legal action, Department of Education inquiries, and potential funding cuts. According to to New Orleans Fox affiliate WVUE, Brumley mentioned that the new rules are likely at odds with two bills in the legislature. One bill permits teachers to misgender and dead-name trans students, while the other prohibits the discussion of LGBTQ plus topics across all grade levels. Brumley wrote to the schools, and I quote, "The Title IX rule changes recklessly endanger students to seek to dismantle equal opportunities for females," end quote. Sarah Jane Guidry, executive director of the state LGBTQ plus advocacy organization, the Forum for Equality, told WVUE that Brumley's concern for LGBTQ plus students is non-existent. This is a tough one to read and to kind of think about because, this is not going to be specific, of course, to Louisiana. There's so many states that have similar laws that are going to be challenged. I mean, that's what Title IX is literally meant to do, right, is to actually make sure that states are following the laws and making, right, non-discrimination a key part of acting. I mean, it starts with sport, like whether we've seen Title IX through sports and other spaces, right, thinking about gender equality in that space. What is this? I mean, this is a perfect kind of opportunity to, what it does is expose the kind of lunacy of these state laws, right? Like,
Absolutely.
It just makes them, yeah.
Yeah, well, I was going to say, Florida kind of beat us to the punch.
I was thinking that too.
Our Education Commissioner, Manny Diaz, is threatening with our Attorney General to sue the Biden administration over this. Right. So I'm sure they're collaborating with their counterparts in those other states. And they're telling the schools, basically, do not listen to the federal law, which you can't do that. They need the funding. They get the funding from the federal government. And it's just like highway funding. If you're not following the laws.
Right.
And honestly, I think at this point, the Biden administration needs to come down heavy on these states, start arresting people.
Agreed.
Start snatching funding away. And really, I hate to say that because that really hurts the students.
Exactly.
Right.
But
It's hard.
That's the only way to enforce the law these days.
Also, there may not. What it also exposes the significance of who's going to be in the White House. Right. That is to think about what White House is going to work to defend the rights of all students.
Right.
Yeah, I wonder how much of a heavy hand we'll see after this next election. Hopefully, hopefully it works the right way. Well, tonight's broadcast is presented by viewers like you and the generous support by Visit Lauderdale. Everyone under the sun.
Next, we are proud of our special partnership with Sunshine Cathedral, the world's largest queer church here in Fort Lauderdale. Supporting that partnership, we are broadcasting from our permanent set here at Sunshine Cathedral at the Happening Out television studios. We broadcast Sunshine Cathedral's Sunday International Service at 10:30 a.m.
All right, we finished tonight's Queer News headlines with a segment we call LGBTQ plus 1 Minute News.
LGBTQ plus 1 Minute News. Let's queer up health. Henry J. Kaiser Family Foundation's research highlights LGBTQ plus discrimination in healthcare. New research from the Henry J. Kaiser Family Foundation sheds lights on disparities in healthcare experiences between LGBTQ plus and non-LGBTQ plus adults. The study reveals a stark contrast. LGBTQ plus individuals are twice as likely to report negative encounters while seeking health care. Of those surveyed, 61% of the LGBTQ plus adults recounted adverse experiences in the last 3 years, compared to only 31% of the non-LGBTQ plus adults. These negative experiences included making personal assumptions without asking, ignoring direct questions and requests, and refusing to prescribe pain medication. Around 24% of the LGBTQ plus people said these negative experiences made their health worse, compared to 9% of the non-LGBTQ plus adults. Discrimination in healthcare especially had negative effects for LGBTQ plus who are a lower income, younger, women, Black, and Hispanic.
LGBTQ plus 1 Minute News. Let's queer up the worldview. Dominica's High Court overturns law criminalizing same-sex relationships. Dominica's High Court has made history by overturning the nation's long-standing ban on consensual same-sex activity, rooted in colonial-era laws. Ruling sections 14 and 16 of the 1998 Sexual Offenses Act as unconstitutional, the court deemed criminalization of adult same-sex activity a violation of constitutional rights. Before this ruling, both male and female same-sex activity, along with anal sex among heterosexual couples, carry severe penalties, including up to 12 years imprisonment and compulsory psychiatric treatment. Justice Kimberly Sinek Huygens passed this historic ruling. LGBTQ plus activists in Dominica celebrated the landmark change. The Eastern Caribbean Alliance for Diversity and Equality launched the ruling as a triumph for liberty, expression, and privacy.
LGBTQ plus 1 minute news. Let's queer up South Florida and Florida. South Florida Symphony Orchestra announces 2024-25 Masterworks season. Sebrina, María, Alfonso to lead. South Florida Symphony Orchestra unveils its thrilling 2024-2025 Masterworks season, celebrating classical music's icons and rebels. Led by the esteemed Sebrina María Alfonso, the orchestra presents 5 dynamic concerts featuring works by Gershwin, Mozart, Strauss, Prokofiev, Berlioz, and the anticipated premiere of Bernstein's Candide. From Gershwin's vibrant melodies to Mozart's timeless Requiem, each Masterworks concert promises an unforgettable musical experience. Don't miss the fan-favorite holiday masterpiece Handel's Messiah on December 7th and 8th. Subscriptions for Fort Lauderdale, Miami, and Key West are now available. For more information and tickets, visit southfloridasymphony.org.
LGBTQ plus 1 minute news. Let's queer up drag culture. Here are the highest earning RuPaul Drag Race queens. Bianca didn't even make the top 10. Cash tips on RuPaul's Drag Race are getting bigger and better, and the prize money has also increased as of RuPaul's Drag Race Season 16 and All-Star Season 9. With numerous new seasons scheduled this year, Queer News Tonight thought about finding out the top highest earning queens. And you might be surprised. Here are the names from bottom to top. Number 10 was Jada Essence Hall at $127,000. Next was Alaska, Trinity the Tuck, Raja, and Shea Coulee, as well as Willow Pill. And the 4th position goes to Nymphia Wind, who recently won Season 16 of RuPaul's Drag Race at $218,000. In the 3rd position is Sasha Colby at $222,000. And the 2nd position goes to, drumroll please, Jimbo at $230,000. Now, the highest earning drag queen is Jinx Monsoon at $332,000. We don't even see Bianca on this list.
The shade. LGBTQ plus 1 minute news. Let's queer up South Florida and Florida again. Be at Stonewall Pride Skate Nights on May 2nd to benefit Wilton Manor's Pride Parade. Join the Stonewall Pride Skate Nights for a family-friendly extravaganza. The upcoming event on May 2nd promises roller skating, dancing, beats by DJ T-Pro Mix, plus dazzling performances by divas Velvet Lenore and Rihanna Patron. Each $15 ticket includes skate, rental, and festivities. You can upgrade to VIP for $25, which includes entrance to the party, 2 beer or wine drink tickets, skate rental, and a donation that directly goes to supporting the Wilton Manor Stonewall Pride Parade. The event is held monthly at the Arena Roller Rink of Extreme Action Park. Don't miss this chance to have a blast while supporting a great cause. Further details and tickets are available at extremeactionpark.com.
That is today's news for the LGBTQ plus community on the world's first and only daily LGBTQ plus evening news show.
If our community is important to you, share this news with your friends and family. Are you like most of America, part of our very large television audience watching this live LGBTQ plus news broadcast right now on Roku, Apple TV, Android TV, and Amazon Fire TV?
Queer News Tonight is the only live LGBTQ plus digital television show in the world that is, quote, out of the closet and into the headlines. We need your support. If our community is to grow, we must tell our stories and bring them to the attention of the broader world.
This is the only place in the world that tells these types of LGBTQ plus stories in motion and in sound. And that is the passion of Hotspots Magazine, Happening Out Television Network, and Queer News Tonight.
That's right. I'm your anchor, Julio Capo Jr., and on behalf of these awesome folks, these LGBTQ plus reporters, the anchors of Queer News Tonight, including Elijah Manley, Vaughn Biggs, and Matthew Darren. We will see you daily at 8 p.m. To our LGBTQ plus world, we wish you a good
Good night.
night.
Later.